Folks, welcome. Not sure what happened there, but we are out to a stampede start here on the Bullet Points pregame show. I'm Maniac, joined by Rob Ryan. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Basketball season's back. How can you not be doing great right now?
Basketball season is back. It feels like it's been an eternity since UB football has played, so we're anxious for them to get back into action. But of course, tonight it's about the women getting back in action, the men starting tomorrow, and of course, a trifecta. Again, the football team tonight. But folks, Hartman's Distilling Co. is the official sponsor of UB Sports, brought to you by us. Make sure you get to Hartman's Distilling Co. Primo spot, 55 Chicago Street, whether you're planning the afternoon out or something a little tastier. We are talking quality crafted cocktails. Get to Hartman's, and if you can't purchase some, then bring the party to you like these beautiful Loganberry 4-packs, perfect for a game night tonight, like tonight, and bring the party to you. Hartman's Distilling Co., as always, slow down, drink up. But it's horns up tonight, Rob, as the UB women's basketball team gets back into it, and they will start off against Canisius. But let's start a little bit broader, obviously. Getting back into it after a little bit disappointing ending to last season, losing to Bowling Green in the semifinals of the MAC tournament.
Yeah, I know. It was very disappointing. Bowling Green was a team last year that no one really saw coming. They were very young, and they just came out of nowhere. And they were probably they were the 1 seed last year. They were the best team in the MAC last year. But I'm thinking definitely will defend better against them. I'm really thinking they were like the men's team, where it's a one-hit wonder for them. They just got lucky with teams not being really prepared for the young team of theirs. So I'm not really. I mean, I'm worried about them. They didn't lose anyone, but I'm really excited for this UB team to start their season tonight.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot of hype around the men and the returning, players they have in positions for that reason. There's a lot to be excited about these returning players for this UB women's squad. Obviously, you have your Deasia, you have Alea Gaba, you got Summer Hemphill, you got Cheyenne McEvans. And what about Lainey Bone? I think there's a lot to be excited about for Lainey Bone. And then, of course, you have Addie Adiaye flexes up. There's a lot to be excited about. Looking at anything in particular, does this team, right off the bat, before we get into the nitty-gritty, does this remind you a little bit of the 2019 squad? You have a couple of big scores, but the supporting cast seems like enough to have some big expectations for the season.
I definitely think it does, because you have from what we saw in the exhibition the other day, Summer is back to her old self, maybe even better. Deasia, we all know what she brings. She brings the Sierra Dillard type action where she could score from anywhere, play some defense. But the supporting cast on this team, I believe it's a little better than the one we had 2 years ago. We have
Better?
Cheyenne McEvans.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
I think there's more. I think there's more to it this year. We have Cheyenne McEvans. We have Lauren Christie. We have Adebole Adeyeye. We have Alea Gaba. We have a couple of freshmen that should play some big minutes. Georgia Woolley. Jasmine Young, maybe she'll have a better year than she did last year. Hopefully she could bring some more action to it. I think there's more supporting.
Transferring is always tough, right? I mean, you look at, and you just said the name right there, Sierra Dillard. I mean, she wasn't all that and a bag of potatoes the first year that she came to UB. She was good, but it wasn't until she had gotten in that system, so Coach Jack had that time to work with her, where she really flourished as a player. And we definitely want that to happen with Jasmine Young, because if that's going to be some serious depth at the guard position.
Oh, definitely. And Coach Jack was saying last year, she had high hopes for Jasmine last year. It never really came to fruition. So hopefully this year she has probably more of a dynamic role. I mean, they didn't lose many guards besides Hannah Hall, but she's going to step into that point guard position where Hannah Hall played the most of it. There's no more Jessica Schiffer to take minutes away from her. She's the starting point guard, and she has to show it early on, or one of these freshmen may take it over from her.
Jessica Schiffer did have some moments of heroism in Cleveland last year, for sure. I think she had a couple shots where it was like giving them some life down the stretch. But with that said, we're talking about the roster. Before we get into some Coach Jack drama that I'm really excited to fire you up about, you just rattled off a bunch of names. I'm surprised you didn't mention your Casey Valenti P. But who do you look at as the wild card for this guy? Because let's face it, the way you just listed it, you kind of know what you're getting out of Summer. You kind of know what you're getting out of Fair. I mean, you look at the other names, you kind of know what you're getting out of Adiaye. You're getting out of, even Lauren Christie at this point, especially dependable. But so is it pretty fair to say that Jasmine is kind of a wild card for the squad?
I think it is, because you really saw, you mentioned the other ones, and we really saw at the end of last stepping up to that bigger role. So, I mean, she could have been a wild card, but she had a great end of the season. I think she's just going to keep going. So it has to be a Jasmine Young. She, like we've been saying, she didn't have a great first year. She got that extra year because of COVID. So we'll have to, hopefully, if she could step up and be a dominant point guard to help out the score of Deasia of Summer. I mean, I think this team can go as far as they want.
Yeah, very fair. Now, with that said, I did allude to it. The Coach Jack drama, obviously getting her jersey brought up to the rafters in the Qs this weekend. Is that a little tough to swallow as a UB fan, Rob?
It's any normal year, no, but because of the situation they have going on in their coaching staff right now, it's very nerve-wracking, especially from when their coach did get fired. There was rumors that she told her team, told Mark Walnut that that's the job she's always wanted. They have the interim coach this year, and to make it even worse, they announced that she's going to get her number retired. It's almost like UB fans are hoping that Syracuse has a good year, so they don't take off the interim coach off of their coach right now and keep him. And it's so because if they fire him, it's like a 95% chance that Coach Jack is coaching Syracuse next year.
Everyone knows, like, and you just said this, doesn't even everyone knows I love Coach Jack. I don't have any inside information, but I really think that unless they go to like the Elite Eight this year, I think she's gone from UB next year, potentially. If that, like, again, if Cuse women rally off like a season and they're in contention, sure. But right now it's looking like they're going to be 12th in the ACC. This is a program that's used to being top 20 historically. So they're not going to want to wait around and get someone second best. It seems like, especially, you know what's underlying too is the MJ factor. Jack playing for the men's. So she gets to spend this season at UB, seeing her son play. And then, the timing is very interesting because obviously she was interviewing for the job. But when we were talking to her interview yesterday about the jersey ceremony and everything, she mentioned multiple times it is all eyes on Canisius. So it's game night versus Canisius. Obviously, it's very interesting, Rob. They got a game to open the season and then a week and a half off. So you really got to win this one and you got to dominate.
I mean, I've been looking at this Canisius women's team is just not a good basketball team. They should not even be close. They should be a runaway game, just like the other day in the exhibition. Maybe not a 50-point runaway like we saw the other night because that was a D2 squad. But Canisius, they could be a D2 squad. From just looking at their team, they really have nothing. This should be at least a 20, 25-point victory, and then they have to look forward to their huge matchups in the Bahamas next week.
Yeah, the Bahamas matchups, those will be sick. Obviously, playing in South Carolina, a top 1 team. That's very intense. But yeah, I mean, I think this team, and right now you're watching, actually, South Carolina is opening the season against NC State. South Carolina up by 6 at half, so 25-19. College basketball is back. It's a great feeling to look at those scoreboards and just see like 30 scores, and you got your Omahas and your North Floridas and all this nonsense. It's great to be back. My eyes, you said Summer Hemphill's back, but I want to see if she's really back. I want to see like 15-10. I'm looking on ESPN right now. They have her listed as a guard. Is that just ESPN being stupid? Like, she's never been listed as a guard ever, right?
Let's see what's it. Yeah, no, she's definitely not a guard. She's a forward.
Yeah, I'm just saying right now on the ESPN roster for the UB women's, no respect. They got her as a guard. So wow, Summer Hempill 0-6-1 guard.
I've never seen this on the roster on the UB site. It lists her as a redshirt 50-year. I've never seen that label ever.
It's amazing. It's super, super, super senior. So super duper senior for sure. And we're excited for her season. Hopefully she can break some records. Hopefully she gets back. I mean, we were talking. You're saying this supporting staff might be a little bit better than 2019. But if Summer is anything like her 2019 form when she was at the peak there during the tournament, I think that this team will be playing late into the week in Cleveland come March time.
And that's why I think they might have the coaches' media poll. They might have not gave us the higher seed finishing, but they gave us that number 1 fit winning the MAC tournament because they probably could see that if Summer's back to her full self, what MAC school is stopping 100% Summer Hemphill at a DH affair who they've seen for the last 2 years, just unstoppable. Like,
with those two said, who is going to be the pull-up three-point shooter? Because when it was 2019, you were getting it from Hannah Hall. She was regardless of what Kevin says, she was putting up good numbers that season. Who do you look at? Is it Lauren Christie from the outside? Is it, Cheyenne McEvans? Who are you looking to get that production from? Because obviously, Deaja's going to get all the attention there. Summer's going to attract it down low. So it was Alea Gaba. Who's going to be your outside shooter this year?
it's really interesting because, like, really looking at the squad, it's a lot of Lauren Christie could shoot the outside three, but she's going to probably, unless they want to spread the floor, she's going to be more on the inside. I'm looking at the freshman, Georgia Woolley. I think she's going to have to step up big. Hannah Hall was a sophomore in that year? So, like, I mean, a 1 year difference. Someone's going to have to step up big and make a name for themselves come March.
Okay. Very exciting. Very exciting. Well, hey, folks, game night versus Canisius. We'll have some coverage on Twitter, some coverage on Instagram, but the men are back. Men's football, obviously. Actually, well, what should we talk first? Let's talk about tomorrow night, since we're not going to do another show between now and then. What are you hoping for to see tomorrow night in Michigan?
I'm just hoping for a fast start because I think if they can keep it close in the first half, I mean, Michigan, yes, they're the sixth best team in the country, but if we play our game, not even like we've seen in the past few years in the tournaments and West Virginia, you can catch a team sleeping early on in the season. And if we're playing a top game, I mean, yes, they have the Hunter Dickinson who's 7'1". We don't have anyone that size, but if you could get the fast pace, get the 3-point shooting on, I mean, if you even keep this close, maybe not a win, but if you can keep this within 10 points, I mean, you're looking at a promising season.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to keep close. Let's face it, like you said, UB has a history of upsetting blue and gold teams in November in recent years. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Hoping for a quick start. You're crazy talking about a win. You're hoping for a win. I can hear you over there, your voice. But what really needs a win tonight in Miami, Ohio, if they're going to have any hope at going bowling this season, they really need to get a W tonight.
Yeah, it's been a very up and down season. There's points of the season where, like, all right, they have a shot. And then there's something like last week where I don't even know if there was any game planning towards that game at all. You were playing one of the worst teams in the conference, and you got absolutely embarrassed. In Bunt's game predictions, we both chose them to win, but it all depends on that secondary because this Miami team they have the wide receivers, they have the QB who can throw the ball. If the Bulls defense can't stop them, it's going to be another blowout and season's over. But I mean, you need the 6 wins. Usually now you need the 7. You need to win out. Is it going to happen? Maybe. Realistically, probably not, but you keep your hopes up to see. You're always going to root for them no matter what.
And then obviously you have in the ESPN starting QB slot, they have Van Sheesh, but it's Myers tonight, isn't it?
They have not announced who it is. We don't know until they get on the field.
Oh my gosh, I hate when they play these games. But what do you want to see? I know everyone's watching, and I know you're nervous, but who do you want to see at QB tonight?
I would love to see the freshman Casey Case. Obviously, it's not happening. I'm done with Kyle Ventries. We all know the story of me and Kyle Ventries. I gave him a shot. He just hasn't shown what he's been able to do in the past few years. Yes, he had a good game 2 weeks ago. Last week, it obviously wasn't his fault, but he also didn't start out pretty well. Matt Myers
came in and was doing the same things he was doing, and they were doing better. That's just the plain and simple way I see it. I know that we have Bunt, and I know that we have Kevin, who can provide you much better analysis than they do on a weekly basis on the most recent episodes. But as we get ready for that game tonight, it just seems like if you really believe in your defense as much as Coach Mo does, even though they've struggled sometimes because of how bad the offense has been. And again, it's like deceiving, right? Because weren't they talking about their top 30 in points in the NCAA?
Yeah, they're like 29th, but it's all garbage time scores at the end of the game. Like, I mean,
I love that stat from I think it was from Bunt today though. They're like they've lost the last 4 weeks, like first quarter, like 49-3, but they've won the third quarter 67-3. So it's like a net like 4-point gain per game. So ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, let's face it, it's Tuesday night and it's action, so it's something better to be excited about, especially with no baseball. College basketball getting started up. Every sport is here. It's the most magical time of the year, pretty much.
I mean, you can't complain. Everything besides, like you said, baseball. But baseball is the summer sport. That's when everything else is out of the picture. So you can't get better than in these like October, November months, and even December when you got every sport playing.
You don't have to stress about your Mets anymore. It's okay, Rob.
They're in the news every day. I can't take it anymore.
All right. Well, hey, anything else before we sign off here on Bullet Points Live? Getting ready again. An hour away from both UB Women's Hoops and UB Football.
I'm just hoping for 2 victories tonight. 2 victories, you go to sleep happy.
All right. 2 victories. Go to sleep happy for Rob. Let's get those horns up. This stampede never stops. Let's go.